Hi there, if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps it to grow and thrive, and also it's absolutely free. Thank you. In this video, what I've done is I've put together two prior videos from 2022 and 2023 that I remember making and that I enjoyed making, even though the topic is pretty sordid because it relates to ex-Fox commentator Tucker Carlson and what was going on around that time. And we do know that today he no longer works for Fox. He was fired during the controversy around the lawsuit when Fox had to pay hundreds of millions of dollars, but he's still out there peddling lies and conspiracies and promoting what amounts basically to autocracy and all the way to fascism. So, hope you enjoy this rerun of two prior videos that I posted years ago. Here we have one of the current stars in the Fox Noise disinformation lineup, Tucker Carlson, a most annoying TV commentator with a penchant for adopting right-wing views while frequently reaching for extremes, such as his current support for Vladimir Putin, although we should note, like many right-wing lackeys, he constantly drifts into blatant hypocrisies as well as total incoherence. Just like Trump, the orange menace master, he is effectively endorsing by default through the spreading of fake information. This idiot took it upon himself to first praise Putin, and quite effusively too, when the Ukraine situation didn't look like it was going to be that terrible a carnage. But once we started to see the horrible scenes of death and destruction, Tucker Boy here immediately pulled back to say Putin was really quite evil, only to then fall into the incoherent pit by next telling us that everything that is happening in the Ukraine conflict is really the fault of America, though of course he means the Biden administration, because you can take it to the bank that if the orange cockroach, God help us, were still in charge, Tucker would be saying the exact opposite. Now this is one character who is easy to detest by anyone with progressive views because on top of being a very irritating communicator with a whiny voice, punctuated by occasional bursts of shrill and very inappropriate laughter when he wants to stress a point,
is with this guy? Who is he?
or adopting a kind of puzzled, constipated facial expression when he's getting ready to unload another round of aggression or passive aggression. On top of all that, he is also plain and simply not only a first-class liar, but also a traitor. The lies and the inventions pour out of him fire hose style, and like his orange master, it appears he prefers dictators like Hungary's Orban or vile thug Putin to the leaders of democracies. When you put together an elevated Venus to account for an apparently soft demeanor, but in Aries, to reveal either aggression or passive aggression, plus the Mars-Mercury opposition to reflect communication, speech, conveying actual aggression, you start to get where this guy is coming from. And to that, you add Neptune opposing his Sun to explain why he's so prone to making things up, once again in the same vein as the orange menace he secretly worships. Being a Taurus, he is traversing through contentious years because Saturn through Aquarius squares Taurus. And if you want to know when the heat is going to turn up, then look to late May, early June, when Saturn makes a station awfully close to squaring his Sun degrees. And I would guess, watch for him to go even beyond his usual sordid commentary through the Fox Noise megaphone. Of course, if you're looking for him to really run into a brick wall, such as getting fired from his job, then that would certainly be one potential moment, the other being early next year when Saturn goes to those degrees one more time. But even though transiting Neptune this summer also piles on to the Saturn action opposing his natal Jupiter in the same time range, I would still be quite surprised if this were enough for him to be bounced, even if I wholeheartedly admit that if it happened, I would be doing cartwheels on the street. But as it is, his overall chart dynamics do not inspire me with great confidence that this clown of a man will get his comeuppance this year, because Murdoch and Fox seem committed to the spreading of disinformation and falsehoods during this era. And toward that end, this goofball is a very effective tool. So I end by expressing a wistful wish that Saturn give him a dose of reality, but I have to admit that I'm not holding my breath. According to what I hear, Tucker Carlson, the lying sack of filth with a primetime slot on Fox Noise, texted his corrupt liar workmates during the January 6th insurrection period to state that Donald Trump is a destroyer and a demonic force. To which I reply sarcastically, "Sure, Tucker, we got it. But then it usually takes one to know one, right?" And just now, I can honestly say I cannot think of a more malevolent demon than Carlson himself. This magnificent manifestation of masculinity. Right, more sarcasm, as I'm sure you can tell. But this right-wing gaslighter is now in the process of indoctrinating his uninformed and mostly moronic viewers regarding what really happened on January 6th. In other words, nothing to see here, folks. It was a peaceful tourist visit. Of course, his problem is that, as often happens to people with Neptune pressure in their chart, if they play to the downside of that planet, and this circus clown preppy is most definitely going as low as you can go through his relentless airing of malicious, anti-democratic lies, these Neptune types often tilt careless and stupid as well, so that in those early 2021 violent days, he took it upon himself to text his true thinking, and now it has come back to haunt him, as most sane people in America realize just how big a loser, liar, scoundrel he really is. Don't forget that, despite some claims to the contrary, of course by the nutters themselves and by those who are otherwise upright citizens, but suffer from crippling pessimism. Despite that, for the time being at least, the sane people do outnumber the insane ones. And this cannot be good for either Tucker or Fox Noise, even if it means we may have to wait a while for justice to be served. Tucker already ran into the buzzsaw of karma when transiting Saturn squared his Sun and Moon opposition to Neptune, timing that is accurately concurrent with the public outing of all the lies he and his lying workmates were spouting when it all became public during Dominion's $1.6 billion lawsuit and the consequent depositions when you have to speak the truth under penalty of perjury. And yet, Tucker the cackling clown continues to promote falsehoods in a naked attempt to keep the Trumpers interested in Fox, but also almost certainly guaranteeing we are going to have a very tense atmosphere during the 2024 election period. So Saturn dinged him, but now, in the early degrees of Pisces, isn't doing too much. So you might be tempted to think this sordid imbecile might be able to get away with his vile anti-democratic behaviors. However, perhaps you can think again, since his real problem may turn out to be Neptune itself through the transit it is making from now until 2026 through the late degrees of Pisces and into early Aries. On first glance, you might conclude that even if, yes, the transit opposition to Jupiter is a problem, there is, after all, a sextile to the Sun and eventually to the Moon, and these are harmonious, so he should be okay. But there's an astrology rule I've learned to respect through the teaching of long experience, and it tells me that if a planet is opposing at birth, and particularly in the context of this kind of blatant criminality, when it makes apparently harmonious aspects such as this, what it actually does is transfer the energy of the opposition instead, meaning it can mean a well-deserved retributory hammer blow, and so this is what he is exposed to from this summer until 2026. Of course, this karmic payback could still take a pretty long while because Jupiter transiting through Taurus until the summer of 2024 is likely to help him out. But after that, for a good solid 2 years, he will be exposed to Neptune's wrath. And may it be so indeed, because this corrupt, anti-democratic gaslighter would richly deserve it.